Hey, welcome to Tech Talk for this March. And do we have an update for you?
In like a lion, out like a lamb.
Yeah. Welcome to spring. Welcome to summer.
Spring?
Or winter.
Is it?
Maybe
Yeah.
spring, winter. Who knows? Yeah. Well, now 2 days ago, I tell you what, I seen somebody mowing the yard.
Yeah.
They were mowing their yard 2 days ago, and guess what? It's snowing on it now. So strange weather we've got today.
Yeah. Well, still March.
It is still March.
She's fickle.
Here are your Tech Talk guys bringing you the
We're
latest weather.
Latest weather update today, because that's the technology for today. So.
I said there was an update, a major update or something, right?
Well, there's
Well,
we're talking
always
updates, and then we typically look a little bit to the news, and I don't think anybody can watch television and not catch a news story about things that are going on with social media, and it bleeds over to whether or not information was used inappropriately, whether or not the Federal Trade Commission would be responsible for levying fines against groups that may have mishandled personal information.
Is this what we're talking about, Facebook and all that?
Yeah. We'll do a little bit of the news before we go on to
I just like
the
that.
other
Who
updates.
didn't know that they were collecting information, they were selling or giving information out here or there? It's only when it was attached to the election, now everybody's up in arms. I knew my information's out there. I knew it. You don't share what you don't want out. They collect different things for marketing and different things, and this is just a marketing company that bought this legally. Now, if we want to change it, sure, but this was a legal action that for some reason people were surprised about. I wasn't surprised in the least.
I understand.
Man, a few words here. It's very, very subtle. The differences between the fact that you have signed the I agree or clicked the I agree button, and now you have relinquished your ownership and control of your personal information,
Right.
and its use underneath those conditions, and its misuse. And I would hate to be on the jury that has to listen to this go back and forth, because it will go on and on and on. The big fine, and if it is the Federal Trade Commission, not some other organization that's responsible for looking at damages,
Yep.
the fine is $40,000 per incident. If it started with a couple of 100,000 people that were voluntarily participating in a personality survey, and then that information was harvested, and then they were able to link millions, tens of millions of Facebook users and their data, and it were to be used, then there's a decision. Was it appropriate use under the marketing use, trying to get you the products that you want, or was it inappropriate, and how that was defined? Because the total amount of fines is in excess of $4 trillion.
Yeah, trillion.
And I can't get my head around that number, but would you rather have Facebook, or would you rather have an end to world hunger and homelessness? Because that's a pretty big number.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I look at those quizzes and say, okay, before you take the quiz, it always says, hey, we're going to share your friends list and this and that. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that one.
Yep.
If it's only looking at my basic information, okay. My name and a couple of other things, big deal. But I don't do the ones, I look at the small print, which is not long, but it says, okay, this company will have access to, your photos and your friends lists and their contact info. No, I'm not doing that. And I think, wasn't there some sort of a quiz, maybe a political quiz or something that they put out to get the information? I'm sure some of that stuff was attached.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was. And do people even read that fine print, that like what you're saying?
Yeah, I do.
Chances are probably, I'm going to say 70% of them never do.
Yeah,
It might even be higher.
There's only like 5% of those things I will even touch.
Yeah, and even at that, when you signed up for Facebook, there's a whole full legit thing there that you agree to, you know, basically the information you put in there is public to Facebook.
And
that
guess
they
what?
have.
Google and YouTube and the rest of their entities, Twitter, they all do the same thing. This
Right.
is not just Facebook. Google has been building a database on your information since you logged in.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
I
not
find
just
I
that.
find that's where our media has let us down in the coverage of this story. I did see Twitter and Snap on their logos along with
Is that Snapchat?
Facebook's. Yeah, for Snapchat.
Okay.
And so there was a quick reference to the fact that there are other social media platforms that benefit from the use of personal information
Sure.
to repropagate news. I won't say good or bad news or information. But nobody talked about the other media platforms or the other search engines or anything else. We know
Not
Amazon.
yet.
Amazon knows everything you buy, and they use
Sure.
it for a business advantage.
Absolutely.
And nobody's on Jeff Bezos, you know. But
Right.
No, because it's attached to Trump, then that part's bad because there was a company that used it.
we're not. Let's keep the politics out of it. Let's stay
But
on the
that's why
science
it
and
became
technology.
news.
We
In the politics world, yes, you're right.
we as participants in the digital world have agreed to use these things, and we are too quick to agree and not protect our privacy.
Right.
There are settings in everything where we can restrict it. You don't have to allow access to your contacts, and we don't. We just simply don't. The founder of WhatsApp, remember WhatsApp was a messaging platform. His name was Brian Acton. His application was sold and bought out by Facebook, and he's now starting a campaign, #delete Facebook. There are ways, and Naked Security, which is from Sophos, it's a blog on security,
Yep.
has a whole article on the Facebook fallout and how to protect your data. If you knew how to go through Facebook and choose all of the right settings, it would be very difficult. And they keep changing their default policies and settings, so it's like chasing
Yeah.
very obscure settings. You can go through without deleting it and export all of those. And I would encourage everybody, use your Bing or your Google or your Safari, search engine and say, export Facebook data or personal data. And if you can follow all those steps in their settings and privacy configurations, you might well be surprised what information is out there.
Yeah.
And I know Google, and I have a Google Home, and we've brought it into the show.
Yeah.
Every time I tell it to do something or I ask it something, it's recording me,
Absolutely.
and I can export those, and it's a little bit easier to find out what that information is. I don't know how to do it in the Safari world, but Siri.
Okay.
Because I've got the Siri, and every time I say call Pat home, something like that, it's done it. Now, what they're doing with it is just another whole story.
Yeah.
But it's not just Facebook and it's not just this, it's all this stuff. Social media and like you said, Siri and
Yeah.
Alexa and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Absolutely.
But
And I don't know why people are surprised.
keeping the politics side out of it, if we look at the international allegations of one state versus another state
Oh, a British
having
company
access,
or whatever?
going across the world and having access to our systems, and this wasn't as large a story, but like, oh yeah, they have access to our electrical grid,
Yeah.
and probably the FFA, air control and train systems. The next big confrontation might not be hand combat, artillery, infantry, drones. It could be all in the cyber world.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
And as
Yeah,
long
what
as
if we got a Facebook attack and it took Facebook and all those social media platforms out, all the young'uns would just collapse. There's nothing to look at. I don't know what to do with my life.
I don't know who's updating what. That off of another side, I did hear the other day that people now are talking about getting not just facelifts, but more neck lifts. I read this, and just a little
Well, your neck
goofy thing
is
came up.
Your
and-
neck is the one place
Yeah.
that you can't hide your age. You can put makeup here,
Yep.
but your neck always looks like a chicken neck.
Well, it was on the.
We're going there
nightly
today?
News, yeah. It was on a nightly news thing, and they were
This is
just
a
talking
technique
about.
thing,
Yeah,
huh?
it was just talking about technology, and they said that now there's a new push instead of getting facelifts or eye to fix the neck because everybody's going like this and causing wrinkles now.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, really? We're talking about.
Okay.
They said, look, the doctors was talking about, said, do this, raise it up, and you'd fix half of your problems. But no, everybody was down.
There's
ain't that amazing?
there are laptop reviews and tablet reviews and
Yeah.
everything, and one of the manufacturers, has one where the camera is mounted at the bottom of the screen rather than the top of the screen.
Yeah.
And while they like it, the biggest complaint is that it looks up your nose.
Yeah.
Because the camera angle is like this, and I saw one on TV the other day, and I went, "That's what we're talking about. Nobody likes that angle. It's
Yeah.
not
No.
flattering."
Yeah, it's
That's
not,
why
yeah.
people that are
Yeah.
a little too heavy take all their photos from up here.
up, yeah.
'Cause
Nobody
it
wants
makes
to
all
see the
this
top
look
of your
smaller.
head either.
They stretch.
Well, there's some up for challenge
Stretch.
in certain ways.
Yeah.
So much for that part of the news. It is a concern, for our security, and one of the things that has been ongoing is our encouragement of everybody to keep their systems updated.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Apple platform has the App Store, and the App Store tells us when our tablets
yeah.
need to be updated. They also have in the Mac OS the same App Store, and that's where you see that there's a brand new copy of was it Sierra. What's the newest version?
Of
High
iOS.
High Sierra.
Yeah.
High Sierra, and that my Movie Maker or whatever it is needs to be updated. Stuff. I really appreciate that, but oftentimes what happens is some of these happen, and if they're automatic, if they're running on a time frame and you've allowed them to do automatic updates, you go running into your office and you need to print something for your class 5 minutes beforehand, and it's running the updates, and you can't do it.
Yep.
And it's
That's
like,
why I turn all that stuff off, or at least with my Apple, it says, "Hey, we got this stuff to do," and it's like, not right now. Like, I want to update Final Cut. I'm in the middle of a huge project that's going to cost me thousands if you do that right now, and it goes bad. So, just 1 minute. Maybe we'll do this at the end of the week.
Okay. So
Later.
in February we
Later.
I suggested that we do a segment on
Yep.
how to clean computers, and I brought Mike and Patrick some bunches screen captures that are the wrong format in terms of being able to fit on the screen. But oftentimes when people bring a computer in and they say it's running slow, there's a problem, we recommend a product that will go in sort of like the system cleaner in Windows. And it goes in and it takes care of all of the temporary, cached, and history files that need to be cleaned. And CCleaner is a free product like that. You just simply collect, run cleaner, and it goes through and it does that.
And this is Microsoft only, not Apple.
I have one on my Android for CCleaner, so I believe there are other platforms. But these are from a Windows computer.
Android, or are you saying iPad?
I grabbed my iPad, but
And said Android.
it is an Android. I
Okay.
do have a copy for the Android.
Okay.
But there's also old settings. When you do an update, the registry keeps track of all of your settings and configurations, and those need to be cleaned too. There's also looking for malware on a computer, and these are things that I keep on my USB key so I can move them around, and this is in a folder for the emergency, MCSoft emergency kit, and you just click Start Emergency Kit Scanner. It pops up with a screen that lets you look at what the history has been, updating it, or look at a brand new scan. So we do a scan on a thing, and yes, you would expect me on my computer not to have anything malicious.
No suspicious.
But
yeah.
what would happen is there would be a listing there of all the bad things.
Yeah.
If it takes a long time and you start seeing a lot of things in red, you just simply are going to say delete those that are selected. But if you have a person, a student, a customer that comes in over and over again that has a lot of stuff that's been done, they're not taking very good care of their computer and they're kind of reckless.
Tell me your surfing habits.
Yeah. So cleaning a computer is always best to do before you run updates and before you run malware scans. So I always use the CCleaner or the Microsoft's system cleaner, which goes through and gets rid of the unwanted files. Then I do the scan for malware. And these are free. They don't cost you anything. A manufacturer will package with their computer when they ship it out antivirus or anti-malware programs.
Something with a
and
default.
then 6 months later they say, oh,
You got to buy
your
it.
subscription is out, buy it. And they make good money. It's not a bad business model. But there's always question, and the European Union always challenges Microsoft on things. Should they package free stuff, or should they just allow there to be third-party solutions? I won't go there either.
No,
So-
well, yeah. There's free ones out there. There's paid ones out there. What works, what doesn't.
Yeah.
They may work. They may not work as well or on a timely manner.
Yeah.
So.
And what works for a person in their home is not necessarily what works in the enterprise.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And your enterprise at the Ohio State University at the center
Yep.
is a lot different than ours. We have roughly 950 Windows-based computers on a network.
Yep.
Can you imagine keeping track of a workforce of
yeah.
accountants or salespeople? They have to have similar tools that take care of those things.
Yeah, and a lot of times report back to a central server or something that will tell a person like yourself, oh, that machine has been scanned, or it's scanning, or oh, it came back with a problem. Well, maybe I should get a hold of Joe because he has a problem and he don't know it yet, or he's going to come in my door any minute and say, this machine is junk, and you're going to go, well, we know why, because it's already reported back. That
This is like
trouble.
a salesperson that carries around a laptop.
Yeah. They a lot of times that their software will report back to a central station, and then whoever's monitoring that can say, oh, we want to shove this update out to you or something. They may be in another country or a state or whatever. They just can't come back into the home office or something. So a lot of that might have to happen remotely.
They also do backups. They pull a copy of your computer, or they can go out and manage it remotely.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Patrick, let's move on to the next slides. In the Windows environment, especially in Windows 10, which is the version you would be getting now if you bought a new computer, they're going to come with the system settings, which is a Windows area, and there's an update in security at the very bottom. When you click that, it goes into a new screen that shows you what's going on with your computer. Now, the settings area is going to start running automatically. And so I had to do screen captures on this because if we tried to do it live, it would take forever.
Right, it would take
And
minutes
it
to
would be
hours.
rolling live and we couldn't keep up with the conversation.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through some slides here with Patrick flipping them, and we'll see what we get. For us, the store, which is a lot of applet types of things, runs its own updates. And you'd be surprised how those run in the background without you knowing them.
Yep.
But it's the Windows Update Center that's going to give you a list of those that are available. And what we see here is definition updates for the built-in Microsoft Windows Defender, cumulative updates that keeps your Windows to the current version, and then security updates. And there's just a ton of security updates. While that's running, and it's going to run, I clicked over on the side that says, show me about my system. And it's about. And what this tells you is at the very bottom, hopefully the next slide, it tells us what version we're running of the updates. Now, well, we'll flip through this one because it doesn't look so good. You can schedule your updates. You can tell it, like Mike, not to do it immediately. And so while I'm capturing these things, I'm going back between my one set of updates, Windows updates, and my store updates.
Right.
So I'm running them both at the same time. They're slowing each other down. But it's going to prompt it. I'm going to await the install. I'm downloading the install. I'm waiting for a restart. And there's a list by the bar on the right side. You can see that I've got several of them stacked up here that are all doing. So I take a break. I said, let me go check and see my Windows Defender. See what status that Windows Defender is.
Yep.
And, you know, on this slide right here, it's telling me that I haven't scanned my computer for a while.
Right.
And that's because I kept this thing in the closet for the last month so that I would have some updates to grab the screen captures.
Yeah.
But it wants me to go ahead and click that button and say, like the MCSoft Emergency Kit, was there anything bad on there? So, do a quick scan, make sure it's clean. Oh, wow, God, my store has updated.
Yeah.
All of those things have been done. I'm finally finished with that. And I've got
These
one
are
waiting for a
percentages?
restart, still waiting for the restart. Restart now, thank goodness. Uh-oh, red lettering must
Big-
not be good.
Big red words. Usually, sometimes that means just restart the machine.
It meant restart the machine. And Pat, I think we've seen enough slides here today. The process is something you need to do, and you need to take yourself through it.
Yep.
Some systems, whether it be an Android on a mobile device, your iOS device, could have a little circle that goes around.
Yep.
That's the Windows experience that I tried to capture in some slides. Do you know it's going on in the background? Chances are you may never even look at that. But if someday you go to print something or you're saying my system is real slow, we'll tell people, go open up this, take a look and see if it's running your updates.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
or,
why it's slow.
Or like it says restart now. Like, okay, restart it. Life will be good. Call us back if you have to.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, you're right. And yeah, some cases a restart will refresh everything. And in some of these updates that Microsoft is putting out with the new Windows 10, you're almost downloading a full copy of Windows 10 in not every time, but
well, one of those slides referenced
Yeah.
1709,
Yeah.
which is the build.
yeah.
As you say, you downloaded a whole copy, and then it swaps the old for the new,
Yep.
and then it does a restart, and it looks like it's a brand new copy of Windows, but it still remembers that you logged in once. And
Yeah, but that whole process could take hours to days to download and then install.
on a high-speed network, we don't worry about that much.
Right.
If you're at home, if you're working on a satellite or a metered connection, you may want to find a better place to do it. We have students and faculty that bring their personal systems to campus. You're more than welcome to. We're not suggesting you park outside in the parking lot and do your updates on weekends, but it's pretty quiet then.
Yeah. you get more bandwidth that weekend, right?
Yeah.
I just don't like the frequency. You know, it seems like 3 times a week I was like, oh, I want to make a change to a document real quick and open up Word. Hey, we got some stuff to do. It's like, no.
What if it was a change to the Facebook app that protected you from data exploits?
Just give me a minute.
Give me a minute. Yeah.
You know,
I'll do it on
remind
my
me in-
terms.
Remind me in 5 minutes.
Right.
kind of
Well,
thing.
Facebook
Yeah.
does this. The only thing I don't like about Facebook and its updates, they never tell you what it's about. It's like, oh, it's got new stuff in it. It's
Yeah.
like,
there's a read more. You just click.
Yeah,
It
they
could
usually
be a
publish
bug.
the
It
stuff.
could be a problem with the battery draining.
Yeah.
Or it could be the fact that the new version didn't handle your network connection. I'll leave it to their knowledge and experience to offer me what is security related, what's in my
that they're
best
doing
interest.
the right thing.
But sometimes they don't work. And this week we had an instance where, or last week, we had an update that absolutely stopped us from being able to double click and open a file.
Really?
And they immediately sent out another one. So I was off campus for the morning, but the phones were ringing at the help desk. And we basically just simply said, look at your settings, Windows Update, make sure that it sees the updates and it's running, restart it when it's done, have a nice day. Not to be glib about it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But when is it the right time, you know, you clean, you do antivirus stuff, and the machine's just still slow. When's the right time to just say, hey, we're going to wipe it, we're going to start over? Do you do that? Would you do that? Do you do that on the in the office here? Would you tell that to a home user? You know, when
home users probably not. There are businesses, you know, that will help you with that. On our campus, we can go to any machine and then hit a magic keystroke and start a brand new, fresh install on a script. We have a device that helps us with that.
Yep.
But only when the machine is beyond repair, and after I've cleaned it, after I've scanned it, after I've done updates, then you decide whether or not it's salvageable.
Okay.
Yeah, there's.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I have machines I haven't done for 15 years.
That's never.
They
been,
run fine.
Yeah. And again, you know, it's the user too. You know how to take care and not click on the right, click on things.
Partly,
so.
the 15-year-old machine that still runs is an Amiga.
Yeah.
Commodore.
Yeah.
And you know, my Mac stuff, it works.
Yeah.
We've
exhausted
talked
our
about
time.
putting more memory into a machine. We've talked about putting in a solid state drive and eking out the last life of it.
Yeah.
And then we talked about Spectre and Meltdown being fundamental flaws in the chips. Let us know on Tech Talk what you need for tech advice, and we'll make sure we come back in April with some news that's of interest to everyone.
Take care.
Thanks for watching.